Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. This time I've decided to follow up my Ganondorf video with one about another iconic Zelda villain, Vaati. There are always spoilers, so consider yourself warned, and with all that out of the way, I'd like to remind you I have a Twitter and Instagram account that will be linked below, so be sure to follow me there. Okay, let's get in the video. Vaati's first appearance is in the Minish Cap, where we first see him having won the Picori Festival dueling tournament. According to tradition, this allowed him to touch the Picori blade, which was enshrined in a bound box. As Vaati approached the blade, he attacked and took out the guards, breaking the sword and opening the box, releasing a bunch of sealed monsters. Now this requires a bit of backstory. Well, if we go back into the intro of the game, we can see that before the beginning of the game, there was a great war in which humanity was nearly destroyed. However, the Picori, also known as the Minish, gave the hero of the era, the hero of men, a great blade with which the monsters were sealed. That's why the Picori blade and the monsters were in the sealed box. As for why Vaati wanted to open the box, he believed that the Light Force, a magic relic similar to the Triforce, was hidden in it. After opening the box, he noticed that Zelda had a magical aura around her protecting her from the monsters that were released, so he turned her to stone to prevent her from stopping him. However, once the monsters were released, he looked inside the box and found that there was nothing in there but the monsters. Upset by this, he teleported away to continue looking for the Light Force. A few minutes later, Link runs into Ezlo, a talking hat, in the middle of the woods. Link tells him what happened at the castle, and Ezlo decides to join him because he's also trying to break a curse of Vaati's. Later in the game, Link learns from him that he used to be a Minish sage and craftsman, and that Vaati was his pupil. Vaati started out as a good Minish, but as he saw the ways of man and how corrupt mankind really was, he got pulled in and became evil himself. He stole Ezlo's magic cap, which granted a person any wish, and wished to be even greater than Ezlo. In an ironic twist of fate, he used his new abilities to turn Ezlo into a magic cap. Soon Vaati takes over the king's body in order to force his soldiers to look for the Light Force more quickly. However, he's unable to find it. After most of the game has been completed, Link obtains all the elements in order to make the most powerful form of the Picori blade, the Force Sword. After this, the sealed door behind the elemental sanctuary opens. This allows Link to see the story of the hero of men, and that the Light Force was actually inside Princess Zelda. However, Vaati actually followed Link there and saw where the Light Force was as well, and went to perform a ritual on Zelda. Link stops him at the last second, and after defeating his many forms, rescues Zelda using the power of the Force Sword to free her, thus ending the game. The next game we see him in is Four Swords. If we look at the prologue of the game, we can see a little bit more of the story, considering that it's actually quite lacking in the actual game. According to the intro, we can see that Vaati the sorcerer appeared a while ago, kidnapping pretty girls and wreaking havoc on Hyrule. Right as the people were losing hope, however, a young boy with a sword showed up out of nowhere to defeat him. He sealed inside the sword and freed the girls. When asked how the boy was able to defeat a sorcerer that many had tried and failed to do before him, the girls replied that the boy was able to split himself into 4 parts. The people didn't believe them, but named the sword the Force Sword anyways. Pulling back into the present time, we see in the opening sequence of Four Swords that Vaati is sealed inside the Force Sword, which has been enshrined in the woods. However, Zelda knows that the seal is weakening and is wondering what to do. The decision turns out to be easy, however, because it's too late. Vaati has already broken out of the seal and kidnaps Princess Zelda, deciding to make her his wife. After being sealed for such a long time, Vaati no longer recognizes anyone or remembers his previous conflicts, just knowing that he's evil and that he wants to rule the world. Anyways, he knocks out Link and kidnaps Zelda. A couple of fairies wake up Link and tell him to pick up the Force Sword and find the Great Fairies. Upon picking up the sword, Link splits into 4 copies of himself, depending on how many people are playing the game. After completing all the tasks in the game, Link faces off against Vaati. This game, being entirely focused on gameplay, lacks a lot of story, with the Links beating Vaati and killing him, sealing him once again in the Force Sword. The final game we see Vaati in, Four Swords Adventures, finishes out the Four Sword trilogy, ending Vaati's story. If we watch the prologue of this game, we can see that it recaps the same story that was told in the Four Swords manual. However, after this story, we hear about another story, likely recapping Four Swords. The next line after this story, stating that for a time, the people of Hyrule believed they were safe, has led many people to speculate that the Links from Four Swords Adventures could be the same as the one from Four Swords, due to a lack of definitive time difference. In comparison, the time between the first and second stories was stated to be ages. However, unless that Zelda timeline is wrong and Four Swords Adventures takes place directly after Four Swords, then I don't find it to be feasible. After the prologue is done and we enter the game, Zelda once again feels Vaati's seal weakening. so she has Link accompany her and the Shrine Maidens while they open the portal to the Four Sword Sanctuary. Zelda and the Maidens proceed to open it, but before they can enter it, a dark version of Link steps out of the portal and seals Zelda and the Maidens with crystals. He sucks them through the portal, and Link immediately follows. In an attempt to stop Dark Link, Link pulls the Force Sword out of its seal. However, this releases Vaati. Vaati uses his power to make the Force Sword ineffective against evil, and Link must find the Force Gems in order to power up the Force Sword again, so he can defeat Vaati. After completing a portion of the game and freeing the Red Maiden from her crystal, she tells the Links of a man of the Gerudo tribe named Ganondorf, saying that while it was unlikely it had anything to do with the quest, it was possible. They follow the lead to the Gerudo and learn that Ganondorf has indeed ignored their laws and headed to the Sacred Pyramids. The Links continue to follow his trail and find that he has stolen an ancient weapon that will make him super powerful. Near the end of the game, after the Links have rescued Zelda and the 6 Maidens, they fight Vaati for the last time. It is revealed that Vaati is not the main villain of the story, but instead, Ganon. He takes over after Vaati is defeated and has another fight with the Links. I covered Ganon's story in another video of mine, so I'll skip this fight. One question that I would like to have answered before I end the video, however, is whether or not Vaati will ever come back. He's one of my favorite Zelda villains, and I would love to see him return again, perhaps get to see him in full 3D glory. One reason I think he could return to the series is that he has been focused on games revolving around the Force Sword and the multiplayer aspect of Zelda. And since the Switch has an online service, and the ability to connect different consoles wirelessly, it would be a great opportunity for Nintendo to create another multiplayer Zelda game, so we could play Zelda with our friends, or even to remake an old one. I for one would be a huge fan of this and would love to see in the future. Well, that's all I have for today, folks. Was there anything I missed or any comments you would like to add? Be sure to tell me in the comment section. If you liked this video, be sure to like and subscribe. It really makes my day, and once again, follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Until next time, I've been Triforce Truths, and I'm out.